Peace and Grand Rising. Today is September 10th, 1440 on the sun calendar and 1441 on the moon calendar. We are most grateful to be here and just excited about all that's going on in our nation. Everything is going the way it should as far as all that the ancestors have for us, and our coming together actually is the most important part of that, which is nation building and ensuring that we keep our focus on our nation and not on anything that the foreigners are doing, because they're not doing anything but providing distraction while we continue to grow and to stand and to be who we really are on our land. So we don't pay any attention to them. We just keep doing what we're doing, which is claiming our sovereign land and ensuring that everyone knows that the heirs have risen and we are governing our own vast estate. Just some things to think about, a couple of announcements as well. Tomorrow is September 11th, and in our ancient history, that was a day that we marked, and I'm still doing the research on what that day meant for us. The reason we know that it's an important day is because that is the day that the fakes, the corporate, pull their shenanigans. Their biggest shenanigans are pulled on September 11th. And so we know that that is a day that we've reclaimed as our own. And so with it falling on or rising on Holy Friday, we're going to be doing a nationwide fast, and we talked about this in the last few weeks. We've discussed it briefly. A nationwide fast from sun up to sundown. And for those who want to fast longer than that, feel free to do so. And the fast that we're doing is whatever you're led to fast from on that day, from sun up to sundown. Some might be led to fast and consume nothing but water, which is the one that I'll be doing. Is a water only fast from sun up to sundown tomorrow. And then some may be led to fast from meat, or some may be led to fast from all solid foods and just do juice and smoothies and water. And then some may be led to fast from sugar on that day, so staying away from all sugar. However you're led to fast. And then, for those of us, those who may do other things frequently, because we're coming out of colonization, and although I don't smoke cigarettes, some who smoke cigarettes, you may want to fast from that all day tomorrow. Anything that we learned from colonization, Islam Empress, anything that we learned in colonization that we know we want out of our lives permanently over time, because that's not for most, that's not a one-day thing. It's something that that we wean ourselves from, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. It might be negative energy. You may want to fast from that. You may want to fast from negative spells, because some of us, we're coming from colonization, and every time we open our mouths, they trained us to say things about ourselves and about our nation, and to think a certain way about ourselves and about our nation, and we have to overcome that. So we may want to just be on heightened awareness with regard to negativity, and keeping negativity in check on that day. That could be a fast that you do, fasting from negativity. And then some of it might be I find that a most effective fast is to fast in terms of energy clearing and fast from keeping energies that are not healthy for us and that are not evolutionary for us. For example, if you know that certain ones will say certain things and they get you upset, but you don't always talk about it, clearing that energy so that they don't even have to know you cleared the energy, but you're just okay. You're good. That might be something that you want to fast from tomorrow, from sun up to sundown, and then do it every day or every other day, however you choose to do it. And so that is a fast that we are doing, sun up to sundown, September 11th tomorrow. That's an important day for our nation. So I'm hoping that all will join. I trust that all will join in, and let's put our hearts and our minds together and come together to do that so that our collective consciousness continues to unify. We're unifying so quickly that it's just amazing. We are unifying so quickly, and things are happening all in our favor, and we want to continue that. So, and then also October 31st, those who will be coming to this territory on October 31st, we're looking forward to meeting you and seeing you and hugging necks and everything. I'm a hugger, so you know if you don't do hug energy, it's going to be difficult for me that day if people who don't do hug energy, because I hug a lot. And so those who are coming to the territory so that we can meet at Mima Mound, which is our ancient burial grounds here, or ancient burial land here. And then some have mounds. All of us have mounds in our territories that we're in now. So don't feel left out. Go on October 31st to any ancient mound in your territory, and let's all still synergize and energize each other that day. The mounds on that day specifically, the energies are going to be heightened in terms of the coming together of the dimensions. On October 31st, this is the reason why the corporates do skeletons and things like that, and I've said this previously, but I want to say it for those who may not have been on that call. The reason that they use skeletons and witches and goblins and ghosts and cemeteries and all of that on that day is because that is the day that the dimensions comes, that the veil between the dimensions is the thinnest. Okay, so we'll be able to feel the ancestral energies a lot stronger that day than any other day of the year. And that has everything to do with the placement of the moon, the placement of the sun, the placement of the stars relative to the ley lines on the earth, and relative to the energies of the airs. Because we give off a certain energy that brings all of that, even it makes it more powerful. Our energies actually cause all of that to happen. So on that day, October 31st, and then we're just looking forward to all who are coming. We've gotten text messages from Moors and other territories who are going to be coming. I'm excited about that. I just love when the Moors get together, and we got to do it more often. That is called a solemn assembly, but solemn just means annual. It just means regularly getting together. And I think that that's something we should do every year. We should plan October 31st to be when we come together and strategize and get together and meet and just connect and all of that. So I'm excited about that. And so having said that, we want to discuss a few things as a nation that have to do with our mindsets and where we're going and the demonstrations that we're currently doing. Okay, we always want to keep track of how our demonstrations are going, The court actions have been going phenomenally. I love that. They're just so powerful. And so we'll talk about that. If anyone has any demonstrations that they want to discuss, we can talk about that too, because the questions that you have, I am 100% sure that other Moors will have the same question. Okay? So be sure to ask them, and then other Moors can come in with the answer, because the answer is among all of us. Okay? And I may have the answer perceived one way, because there's a million and one ways to be sovereign, but being a citizen is not one of them. And those who want to respond with the answer, then you can come on in and feel free to say what you feel and what you know at law actually is the answer, because we try to address everything with the law first and foremost. And with regard to mindsets and where we're going, okay, yes, we are the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. So I want to discuss a particular scenario with regard to our thinking and where we're going, and how others will see us as we continue to rise. So my question is, have you ever been in a work environment or any environment where there was one, either a coworker or a student, that everyone knew was quote unquote fiat wealthy, to the point where you wondered why they were working there? I remember when I was working in import and export business, custom house brokerage, there was one there who had the last name of one of the department stores here that started here and went all over. And he was related to those people. His aunts and uncles were the people who started this major store. It's a store similar to Macy's. And they were actually a rival of Macy's at one point, a competitive rival. And we wondered, why in the world is he working here? Shouldn't he be up in an ivory tower somewhere? That's how we thought in our sleep, that the fiat wealthy people were supposed to be up somewhere and not working every day 9 to 5, but he was working 9 to 5, and he didn't have a whole lot. They did not give him a whole lot. They were wanting him to work so that he could better appreciate all that's going on with so he would know the ins and outs from the bottom up. And so we wondered why he worked there, but I overstood after a while, because his parents knew that there was a bigger picture, and that would require a disciplined, competent, well-versed heir, and he wasn't really an heir, he was an heir to debt. But we're the real heirs, and that's where I'm going with this. It required a disciplined, competent, well-versed heir who knew the inner workings of the quote-unquote corporation or quote-unquote system. And they had to know that, he had to know that, to continue the generational dominance in that field of work or commerce. And as we continue to rise, heirs, we're getting to the point now, we're already at the point now, where we have to start thinking generationally, okay? We have to start thinking generationally. We have to be well-versed, and that's going to require us to do the work. To do the work. And I know that a lot of us, we had this idea of how this should look, and you're right about that. But we actually have to operate and run and govern our own vast estate. And it's going to take us getting out there, getting things running, and getting things going. For example, the other day, I did a demonstration where I noticed that there was an abandoned building, okay? And I just happened to, travel in that area, in the jurisdiction of my ancestral inherited estate. And the building, there was a gate open and there was doors open, and one of the doors had wood planking on the door because the glass had been broken out and all of that. And to me, I'm thinking, okay, this is our estate, and our estate should not be looking just any kind of way, especially with all the resources we have on our estate. So there was also an empty flagpole, so I put our flag up on the flagpole and I claimed the building. Okay. And when I claimed the building, it became clear to me that whenever as we continue to proceed and we continue to claim these resources, that on the day that we claim them, we have to have Moors that are able to go into the building and start working and clearing and moving, and whatever that corporation was doing, the Moors have to be able to do it. And we can, because all of us we all have quote unquote corporate experience, just about. And then those who don't have the corporate experience, because our prophet said he needed someone with a European education. Well, we have all of that. Because our Moorish schools weren't up, we had to have it. And that's going to assist us in taking back our vast estate. Because when we go to claim things like that, we're going to be doing it lawfully and rightfully, and it's going to be where there's no confrontation. There was no confrontation. It was a very peaceful claiming. And we know we have the superior claim. On everything on our land, we have the superior claim. And as we go to claim it, and this is another piece that we're putting together as a nation. This is how that whole process would look. The way that process would look, if it were to go exactly as we see it in our mind's eye, is that let's say there's an abandoned resource. Or a resource that's just not well taken care of. You would think with all of the fiat that has been flying around back and forth on this land, that everything would be pristine. They had endless fiat seemingly. Do you agree? They did have lots of it flying around. And every building on this land should have been in pristine condition at all times. And everything should be like it was when our ancestors were knew who they were, and everything was everything. And now when we go and look around on our land, there's a lot of, the businesses look a mess. Not to mention our buildings and structures that were here they're in ruins, complete ruins. And sometimes when we're on social media, we can see what our temples used to look like and what our buildings used to look like, our structures used to look like, our Muslim structures used to look like. And then there are some Muslim structures on this land that we can look at and say, okay, that looks like what we envisioned our land and our estate to look like. This is our vast estate. It's up to us to take care of it now because no one's really doing that. The Albions are not doing it. They're fighting amongst themselves and things like that, and we're not a part of that. They are doing what they do. So let's let them stay over there where they are doing what they do, and we are going to focus on nation building and focus on making our estate the grand empire that it should be. Okay. So it's our time to do the same. So we actually have to put our discipline, our work ethics, and our competence, and also our sincerity. Yes,
on the Bay, South Carolina territory.
Islam. Welcome, Grand Rising. They don't, in the chat, Chatali says they don't respect our land because it's not their home. That is correct. That's correct. Very, very true. Very true. It's our home, and we have to get our hands in to everything and fix it up and get it back to its even greater than it was before. That's what all of this is about. And number one, we can't do that if we're under a corporation that did not want us to do that. So we had to come out from under that corporation. And in fact, we were never under them. We just had to know it. And we did that lawfully, peacefully, terminating all corporate contracts with them, saying we don't need your services anymore because they're not doing anything anyway. I mean, look that building, and there's video of the demonstration. The building was supposed to be a post office, and it looked like it was somewhere. It looked awful. It looks awful. They don't have the resources nor the will because it's not their home. It's our home. Moors, your home. This is home. This has always been home. We're the heirs to everything here, and it's our job and it's our time to get our hands together, unify, put our shoulder to the wheel, and get it fixed up and get it looking as gleaming and glorious as it was in days past. So this time, that brings me to this time that we're in. Okay, speaking, yes, Empress, there's no place like home. No place like home. This is home. This is where everyone wants to come. This is where everyone wanted to be. And they don't really want to be here just like we were thinking, I don't want to be here if they're in charge, And they're not in charge now. We are. We've always been in charge. We never were not in charge. That's why they needed signatures and autographs every 5 seconds, because we've always been in charge. We just did not know it. We were not competent of that fact, but now we are. And so this time that we're in is called by many names. I see a lot of videos out there on YouTube and hear a lot of talk and chatter about what time it is. Where are we on the timeline? This time we're in is called by many names, and one of the main names that this time is called by is the Great Tribulation. And for some who have used that term, they have put it's a scary term for some because they know what it means for them. But for the heirs, it's called the Great Tribulation, and tribulation means testing. It's called the Great Tribulation not because the testing will be something that's so great and whatever. It's called the Great Tribulation because the great gods are being tested now so that they can stand and govern. It's not the Great Tribulation because of the testing. It's the Great Tribulation because of who's being tested. The great ones are being tested now. The great ones. That's what being pulled over on the side of the road is. That's what them sending fraudulent documents everywhere is all about, you see. That's what some of us have been incarcerated, etc. I was one of them for, from December the 10th of 2017 until January the 4th of 2018, which was about 25 days. I was detained and held unlawfully. And that is what the Great Tribulation is about. So let's not be afraid of testing, because it's the great ones that are being tested. Islam. It's the great ones that are being tested. You are the great ones. You are the gods. The gods are being tested. And that is actually something to be very glad about, simply because all we have to do is stand on our square. And when we stand on our square with sincerity, sincerity is actually the key to the test. Sincerity is the key to the test. Sincerely standing on your square. Never, ever, ever compromising. Always being yourself. Okay, so sincerity is the key to the test. And then some call this the last days. So I said, okay, I already know that when I hear language like that coming from corporate, that I have to look up the word. What are they talking about? And I already know they trained us and programmed us to see it one way, and it's always going to be a negative. But then when we see it the right way with our first eye, it's going to be exactly what we need it to be in order to evolve. And so the last means several things when you look it up. Okay? Last means a ship's cargo, which is something I had never heard before. Last means a ship's cargo. We were unlawfully declared lost at sea, but we are not lost at sea. We are on the land. Last also means a footstep or a track, like Star Trek, like that kind of track. Last means to do one's own work. That's what last means as well. It means the ultimate, most authoritative. So having the last word means you're the most authoritative. In other words, when the heirs speak, that's it. When we speak by affidavit, we don't have to say anything else. That's the last word right there. And everyone must, all those corporates know what that means. And then from a metaphysical and a spiritual perspective, we are the first and the last. We're the Alpha and the Omega. We're the beginning and the end. We're all of that. And if you're the beginning and the end, you have no end. You have no end. The first and the last, the beginning and the end. Last also means the utmost, the greatest, such as of the last importance. So if I say something is, this is of the last importance, this is of the greatest importance. Okay. And so when the Christians say these are the last days before the return of Christ, they are pointing straight at the heirs. Anytime you hear a Christian say these are the last days, they know what that means. They're pointing straight at the heirs, saying they're awake. They're awake. And Christ has appeared. The Christ is here. The Christians know what the Christ looks like.
Islam.
And they know it's not Donald Trump and all of that. They know that. They know it's us. And that's why now they're saying these are the last days. The last days for them is not the same as it is for us. Okay. And a couple more meanings of last that actually had the most importance and meant the most, okay, when I looked at it. Last means to continue unimpaired. So if you say, I was lasting long in my workout, that means to continue unimpaired, unconsumed. That means you're doing something, such as work, and the work is not consuming you. You're doing it and you're lasting. Last means to continue in time. That's what it means. If you're the last, that means there's none after you. So that means you're going to go on and 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 on. Last means to remain in existence or operation. It means endurance. It means stamina. It means permanent. It means eternal. Islam, welcome. It means the heirs. We are the first and the last. We've been here since time immemorial, and we will be here into perpetuity. Okay. So now, what does that mean for us as well? As for the Great Tribulation, okay, as for the Great Tribulation, we, the gods, are being tested. But that's not scary as long as we're willing to look at that which is within us that we think has held us back and examine it and clear it and cleanse it and let it go. That which has presumably held us back is within us and not outside of us. So if you're looking at someone else saying, she held me back, or he held me back, or they held me back, not even the Albions can hold us back, as you can see. They can't. Look at the demonstrations that you're doing, and you're still here, still standing. No one can get rid of you unless you consent to being gotten rid of. And even then, you're not rid, you're just changed. So the tribulation is only called great because we are so great in authority and power and even our makeup and composition. Okay, so that scientifically we are lasting. We're the first and the last. Are there any questions about where we are and or any demonstrations that you've done? If you have not seen the demonstration that was done recently, I can put the link in the chat if you haven't seen it. If not, we can move forward and talk about what we have coming up and where we are and where we're going. Are there any questions at all?
Yes, I have two questions.
Yes.
This is Empress Carla in Virginia. One of my questions are, what's the time frame from the time I put the lien in, from the time I'm supposed to have a court date? No, not that. What's the time from them receiving the package? You know, like if I typed up all my documentation for the court and I selected a date, what's the time frame from the time I put on a date to the mailing time for them to receive the package? Let's say tomorrow is the 11th. And I go to the post office tomorrow and I drop off 9 packages. Is 1 month too far out for the court, or is that sufficient?
That's sufficient. It's actually, you know, you can put it as far out as you choose to put it out. You can put it out 6 months if you want to. Or you can put it out from on the day that that package is delivered. You can put it out for the next day. If you give it a week, you can do it in a week. if you hand deliver the package, the court action to them without confrontation, because we can always hand deliver, but we want to do that a certain way, and we're going to talk about how that should be done. Many have been doing it already, so we might as well go ahead and put a process there. So
okay.
it can be however you choose, Empress. Notification is the key. Notify, 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 and then do your action. And you don't need any type of, once you hand it in to the post office, once you put it in that post office, notice the agent is notice the principal. Notice the principal is notice the agent.
Okay.
And so once you put it in the post office, you can say, okay, I'm going to count 3 days from the day I put that in there, and then on the 4th day, the court action is scheduled. In the chat, Justice Amos says he gives them 1 week after mailing. That's a good time frame. I usually do something like that too, 1 week or 2 weeks, depending. And if it's something that needs to be done right away, again, I'll send it out and then try and get them an email or get an email to them as well as the mailing, the certified mailing. But you want to get the certified mailing out as well.
Okay. The reason I was asking about the time frame, I don't know, something was going on with the phone.
Let me see, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The reason I was asking is because I want to go to the next set, because if I don't want to wait too long, you know. And the second question was for staffing. How would we staff the facility? Will we have a broad directory within the next 3 weeks to a month, or?
That's something we're going to have to discuss nationally. How do we staff the building? What was the second part of your question?
Yeah, that was staffing the building with like-minded people, you know?
Yes, okay, all right. This is how you do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Empress. Go ahead.
Yes, so that was my question, because in order to, I think, to be successful at what we're doing, one of the ways to be successful, not the only way, is to staff it with like-minded people and to already have the mission statement and the goals already pre-written, and if they can abide by it, and maybe if whoever is doing the hiring for that particular territory could have a birth chart, certain things you would put in place, because you can make a template and say this person could fit this job, not to say that they could not do the job or they wouldn't be efficient at doing the job, but if they don't have the same goal, then it's going to be hard to, it's not going to be hard, it's going to be a little difficult to get them to see your vision. I yield.
Islam, beautiful question. So I'm glad you asked. If ideally the demonstration that was done the other day was done properly, we would have had Moors already waiting with us when we put the flag up on that building. We would have had Moors that had their badges, because we are law enforcement and we are going to have badges, being the 5-pointed star badges, because the Sheriff and peace officers, that's what we are. We all are that. All Moors are that. But with regard to your question, we would have had staff already ready that day. When the flag went up, we could have gone in, and this is after serving them with eviction and lien and court action and sovereign CEO documents. We would have had Moors already there on the scene, ready to come in and start working and taking over and looking through the files and everything like that, because we want continuity to be the key when we take over these, take back these resources. So we would have had Moors who were ready to just come in and whatever needed to be done, do it. And so the building that in the demonstration that I did was an abandoned post office. And I was there by myself to do the demonstration, and that was okay, because there was a reason for that too. I wanted to do the demonstration so that we could see how it should go, so that we know that it's peaceful, it's done lawfully, and it's done where there's no, we don't have anything to worry about. There's no, nothing going on in terms of confrontation. It doesn't have to be confrontational. This is supposed to be a peaceful transition, okay? And so had we had, let's say, 6 more there, just 6, all we needed was 6, or 3 even. We could have had 3 more there who would have gone in after serving the eviction. We would have waited until they leave the building, because our claim is superior still. Even to this day, our claim is still superior, and it's on the public record. So we'll serve eviction, and once that eviction time is up, they need to be out of there because they're insolvent anyway. All of them, every corporation on this land is insolvent. We've seen to that. Your lien and the things that we've done have made them insolvent. They have court actions on the record that have made them insolvent. Again, so when we get ready to do things like that, where we are raising our flag and doing things peacefully as well, they were to leave the building and leave it so that we can access it, make it accessible, like it was basically. It was abandoned. They're claiming you can't claim something and then leave it like that. Those are our resources. You can't leave our resources raggedy and just open for anyone. So we take them. And if other Moors had been there in an orderly manner, with fezzes and turbans, with their badges and their consul badges or justice badges or however, but more importantly, their law enforcement badges, then we could have gone in and straightened everything out in there and got ready to start doing sovereign commerce in there. Okay, so when we do it as we are the government, we are the law, and we also do things in an orderly manner. So we have a certain number of heirs that will come.
How come your car had a Washington State license?
And hold on just a moment. And so we would have a certain number of heirs who would come and begin working in there. And we would secure the place once we got ready to leave for the evening, leave our flag up. Our flag stays up permanently, and then the next day and from that day forward. And we may even post a sovereign Sharifian peace officer. We may post a sovereign Sharifian peace officer or 2 outside overnight, because that's another something that we're getting together. And we're not that far off from doing that. Okay, we're in the process now of getting our Sharifian peace officer badges.
Negro, please.
So that we can do that. Okay. So that is ideally how that would go. Okay, that's ideally how it would go. Empress, does that answer the question of how we do that?
Yes, I understand clearly now. I do have one other question though. Do we have a group of? Do we have a group where we can get our young men or our sons involved? Because they're very conscious, and they actually brought this to me about 6-7 years ago. I didn't listen. I didn't understand what they were saying. And anyway, make a long story short. So maybe they could get with a male, one of the seniors and knowledgeable people, like Justice, I don't know how busy he is, Gilmore, or is there anyone in our particular territory, male, that can relate to the younger men so we can get them knowledgeable about the process on how to do or how to carry on the nation, so that way they're able to teach the next generation?
There are many sovereign sons who can do that, and when they're ready to step up and do that, it will get done. Until that time, and I'm not saying that there aren't any doing that, because I'm pretty sure there are. In fact, I know they are. this coming Sunday, we're doing something with regard to homeschooling. Okay, so we can use this same platform, Empress. That's what these calls are all about, is getting that kind of thing going. Okay, that's what these calls are for. So if there are any sons, males on this call who are interested in getting a group started where you can mentor the sons and the younger ones, and you can meet, whenever you all choose to meet for a purpose, because you always want to have a purpose for meeting. Right now, our focus is on getting our badges and our our Sharifian peacekeepers, and they cover the scope. The Sharifian peacekeepers cover the scope. They cover the scope of all law enforcement duties because they're sovereign. So they can do what sheriffs do. They can do what policy enforcers were doing, except not the unlawful stuff and the harsh, ugly stuff, unless necessary, which it shouldn't be. They can do all of that. I myself am going to be participating in the Sharifian Peace Officer piece in this territory. So when they go out, I'll be going out with them sometime to, just to observe and to ensure that peace is continuing, and not that they can't do it. They can do it on their own too. They have to, in all the territories. And so as we continue taking back our resources, that's going to be an integral piece, and we're getting that piece put together right now. I have someone who can get us badges, the gold 5-pointed star with red writing in all lowercase letters. We have someone who can do that. We have someone who can, and then we've been looking at the booklets that the sheriffs have been operating from, and just pulling a few things out of that, okay? And any of our sons can do that. Look through that book, sons, okay? And not just the sons, empresses. There are some empresses who can handle that type of stuff, at a superior level. And so we should all be looking through the book. Those of us who want to activate that law enforcement piece. Right now, our law enforcement, our Moorish law enforcement, is their only duty right now is just going to be document delivery. So we're going to be going out with our badges on, delivering documents to these places in our territory so that our faces can be seen. Because we've been sending out all types of documents and things by mail, and we're going to continue that, but we're also going to put a face on the document. And it's just going to be the same way that the sheriff would come and deliver something and tack it to the door or hand it to someone. That's what we're going to be doing, is handing them documents, and that's it. And then we right back to camp, to our headquarters, to our main place. That's going to be the job, so that they can be seen. And the documents that we'll be delivering will be eviction notices for those who are unlawfully occupying. It will be liens. It will be court actions. It will be sovereign CEO documents. It will be financial documents where we have revenued our resources back to us. We've already started that process as well, and it will be all of the above. And thank you in the chat, Empress Valerie. Thank you for that. It was an absolute joy to do that demonstration. And in fact, I did say I was going to post. Let's see. There's actually 3 videos from that demonstration that I can post in the chat.
Thank you.
Here is Islam. Go ahead, Empress.
Did you know that there's no flags flying at the United Nations?
Did I know that there's what?
There's no flags at all at the United Nations. None.
That should tell us something.
Yes,
they're waiting for the heirs to step up and do what's in this demonstration that I'm posting in the chat, and then I'll post a couple of the accompanying demonstrations that it's just before I did the demonstration, I did a quick clip, and then after I did the demonstration, I posted the results of the demonstration there. Had that demonstration been done ideally, where if it was my, like the way it's going to be done soon, we would be serving eviction notices, and we would be taking over the operation because we are solvent. We can do it. And the post offices are also the Earth Financial Bank, and that's why we went ahead and publicly made that claim. And it's not even a claim as in a claim to be challenged. There is no challenge. It's ours. Then anywhere that has a post office box or anywhere that mail is delivered is contained within that demonstration. So it's all of it is ours. Been ours from the beginning. So, from day one it's been ours. We just needed to do the court actions, and many of us have done court actions on the the Postal Service because they are the unlawful occupiers there. And we needed to do a public claim so that everyone is aware that that we are actually we're living and we're on the land, and that's our resource. We've been using it anyway. We've already put out the postmaster documents in all lowercase letters in red, and all Moors are the postmasters. All Moors are postmasters. All Moors are justices. All Moors are consuls. All Moors are the law. All Moors are the government. And so that's where we're moving forward with those types of demonstrations as well. There are some places here in this territory that we must. It's not even an option because it's our stuff. That's where our history and everything that has to do with the Moors and all of that is in all of our territories. And fortunately for us, and some people might not think this is a good thing, but our ancestors know what they're doing. Fortunately for us, those massive fires that have been going on, those massive fires, while we send our condolences to those who may have lost their lives in those, we know that the fires are actually burning away all of everything that would obstruct our view from being able to see what's really there. Because most of our ancient structures that are still here on the land are overgrown with trees, and they have a lot of overgrowth on them, and the fires are burning away the overgrowth. So now we can clearly see without having to cut down trees. Oh, there's an ancient temple here. Oh, there's an ancient courthouse here. Oh, there's an ancient mosque here. And let me make sure. Can everyone hear?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes, because you're okay. Justice Travis, you may need to.
Yep.
Okay, Justice Travis may need to sign out and then sign back in. And so the trees are burning away, and now we can see the structures that are there, and that's going to make it easier when we make our claim, as we continue to take back those resources. Okay. There is a question in the chat that says, will an eviction notice go out to the corporation? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the things that we're working on right now is the eviction notice. And we will give them something like 30 days because we're generous. Or we may even give them 60 days so that we have our badges and everything ready to go over and do what we need to do there. Because when that 60-day period is up, we're going to go and begin working. We have to get it done. You know, so that's what we're going to do, and that's why I'm saying we're the heirs. Islam.
Yeah, I have a question. You had stated last week, on Sunday, that they have police already, sovereign police already in Detroit.
That was Ohio, I believe, that sent me the photo.
Okay.
I think it was Ohio that sent me the photo. Yeah.
So are we going to try to do that in every territory?
We're not even going to try. We have to do it, actually. It's a wrap. That's done. Every territory that has Moors, Empress, will have police, law enforcement. Every territory that has Moors will have law enforcement. And the Moors that are in that territory are the law, and they are the government. So get ready, Moors. But the way this is going to work, it's going to be so peaceful. It's going to be without incident. It's going to be very, very well organized and strategized and carried out. Okay? And the way it's going to be carried out is that it's going to be each one of us. We're already justices and consuls. We're already that. Having that competent law and being the law, etc., all we need to do then is put on our badge and know what peaceful transition looks like. What it is we don't ever have to talk to those foreigners in terms of arguing back and forth, et cetera, et cetera. You can have them. Arguing back and forth and all of that. There's none of that. We're peace officers. In fact, we're the only lawful officers on the land. And so we will simply go and we will very simply, very peacefully hand the documents, place the documents, tape the documents, mail the documents, etc. In the territory. However we do that. And it must be done, again, with sincerity and no war energy. If you have war energy and you know you have a temper, just hold off on doing this peace officer piece. If you know you have a temper, don't do the peace officer piece. And that's a suggestion because you can't tell heirs what to do. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do.
Pauline, drive the
it's
plane
just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion to go ahead and take, stand down on that piece and demonstrate otherwise. And that's a suggestion. Just a suggestion. So that we don't, I'm sorry, go ahead.
In.
Huh? Go ahead, Justice. I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, don't worry. Those are our, go ahead, Justice Malik. Go ahead.
Oh, no, excuse me. I accidentally pressed the button, excuse me.
That's okay. And so don't worry about the Albions. They're, we love them so much. They provide us with entertainment. You're so entertaining.
Yeah, you too, nigger.
Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. So entertaining. We love him. That's one of the funniest ones. And so anyway, the peace officers, if and then if you know that you're ready for this peace to happen, those of you who have been saying, where's our enforcement, you need to be the first one stepping up to get your badge, and you're going to order it. So no one's going to force anything on anyone. But this piece is the best part, because we actually get to go and see the resources and the buildings, etc. We actually get to go see that. We get to go raise our flag or post our flag. We get to go do all of that. And to me, that's exciting. And then we get to work on our land on our terms. We're working on our own terms. So that's why the post office was actually the first demonstration that I did like that particular demonstration. It's because it's time for us to, start knowing what that looks like, knowing what that peaceful transition looks like. It's peaceful. Any of you that have abandoned
How come you
places,
never terminated that corporate contract?
Abandoned domiciles, abandoned places, get ready. Empress, he's so funny. I don't even think he qualifies for demon status. I don't think he's not up there yet to demon status. He's still working on his act, He's way weak, actually. Entertaining, very entertaining. And so here he comes. Look. So
Cat got your tongue, Pauline?
Our son is so cute. We love you. And so those who have been asking, where's our enforcement? Get ready, because you're it. And guess what? When we're our own enforcement, you know what happens? Nothing. Moors don't get taken. Moors don't get kidnapped. Moors don't get trafficked. And peace ensues on our land. Okay. And that's what we want. Noble, peaceful law enforcement. And it's going to be just that. It's already that for us. Because if you really think about it, we disagree a lot, but none of us fight. We've never come to fisticuffs and things like that. We've never gone to blows, None of us. So we have a great track record in terms of peace. I know some didn't want to give us that credit, but we will take that credit ourselves.
Come on, Pauline. Everybody wants to know.
Everyone wants to know what? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Where'd you go? Okay. I'm playing. I muted him. And so I guess I will lock the meeting so we can keep moving. We keep moving anyway. And so those who've been asking for, yes, Islam, Empress.
You were saying about the vacant domiciles.
Yes, about those. Yes. Now, that demonstration with the me too, Empress to Charlie. That demonstration about domiciles and things, you first must know the lien process, and you must have done a lien on that domicile and all who claim an interest in it. Next, you must do, and this is, you can't tell heirs what to do, but if you want everything to remain peaceful and calm, you need to do court actions on everyone who's claiming an interest in that domicile. And there are, and I'll say this and some will disagree, but It's their demonstration to do. There are plenty of domiciles that are vacant on our land that we can claim using that process and putting our flag up and doing the lien and the court action and revenuing any debt associated with that. Okay? There's plenty of domiciles on our land that are abandoned. Okay? Plenty. So we don't have to have a, and know this also, the ones that are not, being unlawfully occupied right now by foreigners, they'll be abandoned soon by them. In fact, they're already abandoned on the record, but we've claimed them. We just need the ancestors to keep doing what they're doing and making sure that they leave peacefully, so we don't have to do anything. We don't have to confront them about a domicile. We don't have to do that. All we have to do is do the paperwork. If there's a domicile that you see that's being unlawfully occupied by a foreigner, just do the paperwork and put it on the public record and wait. Do the court action and wait. Notify them and wait. And then focus on other demonstrations and setting yourself free there. And work in nation building. But just all we have to do is be patient and make sure that we know those processes and have them done and on the public record in red, in all lowercase letters, that we have a termination of all corporate contracts in red, in all lowercase letters, with the corporations in black, in all uppercase letters, etc. And that's every contract that was ever signed, even in our sleep. Every contract, not leaving out any one. Don't even leave out one, because I know some people, some Moors who have terminated all contracts except for the Social Security number or something like that. Islam, tell her to come on in. That's why I don't like to lock the meeting, because and they want us to lock the meeting so the Moors can't get in, and that's why I leave it open and I just keep deleting them, and every time they come. We're not gonna lock the Moors out of the meeting. So, that kind of is what it is. I don't like to do that. And these guys are not even serious enough to have a meeting locked. They're not heavyweights and heavy hitters. There's no such thing. Not with this button over here. So, and so,
Pauline,
with the domicile, Empress that asked the question about the domiciles, have you done any liens and court actions yet?
I'm in the process of it, as far as doing some liens and some court actions.
Okay. That you want to ensure, and also ensure that you terminated all corporate contracts on the public record.
Okay.
Okay. Those three things are a must before we can, move forward as a nation. We have to have those three processes in place and be actively doing them. Why? Because we're going to need that for
Let everybody know what a fraud you are.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. Shush.
Who is that?
That's the Albion who he's actually a little bit angry because we're standing, and he knows what that means for them. We love him. We love him. We think he's quite funny, actually. So we're not even mad at him. We'll just delete him every time he shows up to show him who's in charge. Islam. Empress.
This is Cynthia Ann Bay of Khalifa Territory, and I guess it's more of a report. I guess before I'd gone.
You have a Washington State license plate.
I'm talking. Please be quiet.
I got him.
Thank you.
He doesn't have anything better to do. Go ahead, Empress. I'm sorry.
It's all right. No, it doesn't bother me. I want to talk. I want him out of the way. So anyway, last October, my husband and I were being evicted, but we were doing a lot of paperwork, and we did liens on this property. We found an abandoned property, and well, actually the foreclosure, and we did liens on it, and I even put a lien on the real estate companies, and I at that time we didn't have the cancellation
It's a wrap,
of all corporate contracts. So, but we did, but I do have on the record, a public record, a reversion of estate, the one that Grand Sheik had put out. So I have that on the public record. And then at that time I was working with Ezeal, and he suggested that I go to the property and I put my flag on the property and also my title, a allodial title. So I did all of those things. Well, we were in a turmoil and trying to get, into our getting out of the place we were in, and I didn't go back to the property until much later. So a few weeks ago, and this is almost a year now.
I just forgot about it. You got to throw that honey away.
Anyway, a few weeks ago, we went by there, and it looks as though the place is abandoned. All of the real estate signs were pulled up. They had the gate locked. Gate is open wide, and it looks like no one's been there for a long time. But I've been afraid to even go and approach the property, to see what's really going on. But I have a feeling they actually, left the property. So I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to report of what's
Islam?
I've gone through. Yes.
Is your flag still up?
My flag is not still
Islam,
up.
Empress, I have a question.
Hold on, please. Hold on, Empress.
You drive a Nissan Altima with a...
We don't care.
Go ahead, Empress.
Please be
Cynthia.
quiet.
Yeah, I got him. Don't give him no attention. Don't give him any attention, obviously.
Right.
Go ahead.
So anyway, I'm just, I haven't done, the cancellation of corporate contract, but I do have a reversion of estate on record, and I'm not in a position right now to do the court actions because I just got a computer back. I mean, I was stripped of everything, so I'm piecing my life together. I'm living in a trailer, and but I just want to report that I think this place is open, and I'm going to go and take a look.
Why do you lie to these people?
You don't even know me. So anyway, I just want to report that I do think something did happen with that, and I'm no longer getting notices and all that stuff stopped. So not much more to say. I'm going to report, because I'm going to go by and take a look, and I'm going to get the courage up to go up and see what's going on. I don't know if they left the key or whatever, but they pulled up all their signs and they opened up the gate wide, and I'm like, is this an invitation for me to take a look? So anyway, it's just a report, and Islam.
So, Empress, I'm just so grateful for that report because it absolutely affirms everything that we know is happening. The thing about even the lien process and the things that you've done, we've had a learning curve that we had to go through. We had a time where we needed to learn what to do because we didn't know, and we learned the lien process and shared
your demonstrations
with everyone.
I'm not so sure about
we learned please don't let him bother you. Don't let him bother you.
He's not bothering me.
Don't let him bother you. And I'll just keep talking past him while I push the mute button, the quiet button.
Okay.
He wants me to lock the meeting, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want the Morris locked.
And we love her, so
there are some Morris who get off work and they're coming to here. Even when they're late, they're coming to here, and they
You're a total fraud, Paul.
Disappointing to them that they can't get into the meeting. And so, but anyway, as I was stating, there are Moors who, when we learned the lien process, We knew there was going to be more to do after that, but we wanted to share the lien process so that Morris could at least learn that process, and then we knew the ancestors were going to give us more keys as to how to take the.
You better lock the call up again, honey.
Return the estate back to ourselves, because no one can return it back to us but us. And so the ancestors were giving us the keys, but the way the ancestors work is they give us the keys, one key at a time.
Okay.
And then they see how we do with that key, because this is line upon line, precept upon precept. And I'll just tell you why they do it that way. When we first learned the lien process, let's say, there are some Moors who were leaning out of anger and out of war energy, and they were throwing liens around and threatening people with liens and everything, not knowing that that's just one level. Let's peacefully put that piece in place. Yes, file the lien, record the liens and put them on a public record and do this and that with the liens. Send them out, send notification that you're leaning, and then do that peacefully. And once we master that level, which we did, then the ancestors give us another key, and the next key was court action. Okay, the ancestors gave us court actions through testing. We found out through testing that we were going to have to do court actions along with the liens, and that we could use those two pieces together so that we could lien them and tell them, okay, we stopped all your commerce. Now we're doing a court action saying not only is your commerce stopped, but you're going to jail for operating in that manner on this land. And then once the ancestors gave us that, and then they gave us the all lowercase letters thing, the lowercase letters in red piece. Now we see that even those fakes that called themselves in authority, such as the quote-unquote Queen Corporation, etc., they were using all red in all lowercase letters, but they put, hold on for just a moment, but they put minus signs in between each of their words because they know they're debtors, they're not creditors. So you can't use a creditor status type of, they know better than that. We've seen that on their writing. We've seen that. And so the ancestors give us piece by piece to see how we respond and to see how we test in that area. And when we test well in that area, peacefully and with sincerity, they give us another key. And then a test comes with that key. And then when we are, and the thing is, the test that we're most afraid of is the lowest level of testing. And that's fake policy enforcers and fake judges and and jails that are resources of the Moors, actually. The jails are actually ours. But we have to pass these tests first. Peacefully, competently, and getting over the fear of doing things.
Right.
Okay. So I had to be tested on the jail piece. That was I was only 5 months old of knowing who I was when I was tested on the jail piece. But the ancestors wanted me to know that that's something I can't be afraid of. And when I proved that I wasn't afraid of it, they said, okay, good. You don't have to worry about that no more. Now, do this and do that. And do this and do that, and remain sincere and remain, do not compromise, because opportunities to compromise, and it's not even an opportunity, traps, compromising traps are,
That's not my nature.
present occasionally, but we know them when we see them, so we already know that's, nope, don't even go there. And I will lean any trap. Lean them and call them into court.
Okay.
So
that's a great thing is if you put in that address, the only paperwork to come up is all the work I've done. It's just my information that I own that property. So
yes,
I understand.
Are you surprised, Empress, that you're so effective?
Yes. In fact, yes.
I'm not surprised at all. In fact, I just honor your work, Empress. And the thing is, the ancestors wanted you to test peacefully and patiently.
Yes, okay.
Okay? That's the real deal. I already know based on the results you've gotten that you're very sincere with this and you mean business about your nationality.
I do.
Or you wouldn't be getting the results you're getting. You get great results because, and slowly but surely they show us, okay, when you look back on that demonstration you did 4 months ago or 6 months ago, look, success. You didn't see it that day, but you didn't have to see it that day. You just needed to do the demonstration. You know, that's how this works. Is we do the demonstration, and then we keep demonstrating along the way, and then we look back and, oh, look, that worked. You know, so, and the more you have to know that, because go ahead, Empress, go ahead, I yield.
Now I'm in the process of putting all the pieces together to get the court action done. That's the only missing piece I have right now.
Yes.
Islam.
Yes, Islam. Looking forward to your court actions. I love court actions. I don't get a chance to make all the court actions, but I'm like kid in a candy shop with the court actions. I love it. I love it. We're governing our own estate.
Yes, yes, sister.
So I'm loving it. And we're finding our power. That's empowering to rule over your estate.
I agree.
And to put that on the public record and know that no one can stop that.
That's right.
You know, that's powerful. Very powerful. And those who've done court actions may not see the result right the day they do the court action. They may not see it that day. Some do now. Some do. Let's put that out there. Okay. Yes, Empress Michelle in the chat. She says the spell has been cast for them to leave the building open for us to enter peacefully. Islam. And that's on all the stuff we do, all more. That's on all the stuff. Empress, the things you've done, Islam. Islam.
Grand Rising.
So, yes, and so my thing is don't get in a hurry. Think through the next steps and perform them lawfully and peacefully. You know, and strategically think them through so that they're competent. And they will be. You've already proven that. You know, and just keep going like you're going. And then when it's time, the same energy that we get when we know it's time to do a demonstration will be the same energy that we get when it's time to go and get into the buildings and things. Okay. That I know for sure from first-hand experience. The demonstration that I did that I posted in the chat a couple of days ago, and it's on YouTube and everything. And that's what the Albion keeps coming in. He's trying to mute that because that's their job. They like to mute and try and neutralize our excitement about the demonstrations that we do. You know, so you know, we already know their strategy, and neutralization is not that they should plan something different because it never works. It never works. They need to come up with something new because we're good. So anyway, when it's time to, yes, Empress, and thank you for that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, because it's, again, the more we just need to know that our job is, and this is something Grand Sheik told me from the very beginning, because I was still wondering how are we going to do all the things that we've already done thus far. Grand Sheik told me way back then, he said, you just have to put the word and the energy into the atmosphere, and nature will rush to aid you. And he was right. He was right. So we put the spell out there. The court actions are a spell. The liens are a spell. Put them out there with peaceful, sovereign, sincere energy. And then keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. We can't be in a rush. Okay? We can't be in a rush. We just have to, because we have to be strategically thinking through everything we're doing. The prophet said, if I can get you to think, you'll free yourself. And no one's freeing us. We're freeing ourselves. That's the beauty of this. So we will be serving eviction papers on the ones that are unlawfully occupying. And we're going to give them a time frame to get out of the building. And we mean that with all sincerity and with peace, and we love them, but they do have to unoccupy. Are there any other questions, comments, demonstrations? Any questions about the demonstrations or the documents that have been sent?
No.
Islam.
Yeah, I had a question. I had a question about the lien process and the court process. What if you got evicted out of your home and if you had paperwork stating that you owned your home, and then the sheriff came and evicted you, and then they got somebody else occupying your home? Do you lien the people that's there as well as the court?
Okay.
The judge who made the
Yes, you do. However, yes, you do. You lien everybody involved. However, before you do that, before you take the time to do that lien, go back through and look at a couple of things. Number one, have you terminated all corporate contracts? And if you have, then look again and see if you find anything else since that time period, because you may have to re-invoke.
Okay.
You may have to and that's what we're seeing as a pattern. The things that I'm suggesting are based on the pattern that we've seen. Because sometimes more feel that when they place a termination of corporate contracts on the public record, that they can then go about signing whatever they want to sign and all type of contracting and everything, and then be like, oh, but I did that. I did what you said. And it's like, no, it's not what I said. It's not what I said. You're the one who said that you don't have any corporate ties, no corporate contracts. So then why would you go and sign yet another one? You're a sovereign. They're going to honor it, and they're going to look for corporate stuff. And this is something that I do regularly. Regularly, I will go out on social media because I'm always going about doing things throughout the day. And I will go out on social media and terminate corporate and put a couple of statements out there that terminate corporate contracts once again. Just re-invoking random. It seems random, but it's not random.
Okay.
So before I did the demonstration that I did with the post office, I re-invoked again. No termination of corporate contracts, and no United States corporation company citizen has personam jurisdiction, et cetera, et cetera. And then after I did the demonstration, I re-invoked again, just because I feel like, okay, I need to do that. And it's not for safety because I don't feel unsafe. I feel very safe. I did that by myself, but I wasn't by myself. All of you were with me, you know. Okay. But I feel very safe. I just do it as a point of law. The law says not to have any corporate contracts. And because we are the law, we just keep putting that word out there. It's never going to hurt us to re-invoke and re-invoke regularly. I've been on the phone the last few days with Moors who either are incarcerated or who were in the process of doing a demonstration where policy enforcers are concerned. And generally, as a rule, on those calls, I invoke jurisdiction for myself, and then I do the termination of corporate contract statement. It goes like this. I am Justice Pauline Denise Ritchie in Capitis Diminutio Nolo, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. My free chosen national name is, appellation is like Tajiri Bay. I am like Tajiri Bay, in capitis diminucio nolo, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. No United States corporation, company, citizen has personam jurisdiction over me nor over any more. And I hereby terminate all corporate contracts at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. And that's it. And that statement alone re-invokes, I can re-invoke every other word. And it feels like a cleansing process when I do it. It feels like I'm clearing energy. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
Okay. Does that answer your question with regard to the liens and things like that? So again, before you lien everybody who did all of that to you, were you a declared more at the time that that happened?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. What you'll want to do is clear some energy first, because there's some anger and some things that go along with those types of things when they happen. Granted, you were not declared as a Moor, but you were a Moor still at the time. And so there's some energy clearing that needs to happen on your part. That doesn't take long. It usually takes a few minutes. The more you practice energy clearing, it gets, easier and easier to do in terms of feeling cleared. And then you do want to do liens and things like that. You want to do liens and you want to do court actions, etc. And then before you look at moving back into that place, it is my suggestion, and this is just from what I've seen. This is a suggestion. It is my suggestion that you look at a different place instead of the place that happened, because that's going to remove some of the energy and keep those energies clear that came with the event that happened. Because when things like that happen,
3 years ago. It was 3 years
ago. Okay. I would.
I'm going to keep coming back and pointing out that you're a fraud.
If you want to do those things, the liens and the court actions on that, I would suggest that you do them. But then when you start looking at domiciles, look at a place that's completely different from that one. And I would advise, I would suggest, I don't give advice, I would suggest that all Moors do that. If there's been an event that happened at a domicile where you, this will be on the public record just as unique, so you'll be able to record it from there. You'll be able to get it off of there. But if there's a place where an event happened that was a traumatic event for you, where you were, namely, specifically eviction, many of us were not Moors when things like that happened. It's not that we weren't Moors. We were asleep at the time. We did not know that we were Moors at the time.
How come you didn't have your Moors plate on your couch?
When things like that happen, they are really mad about that demonstration. I'm going to tell you that. They're very mad about that. And they're trying to do everything they can. But anyway, I won't get off topic. I digress. All right. If something has happened in a place like that, do all that you're going to do with liens and court actions, etc. But then also do look at a different place completely altogether.
Answer the question, Pauline. How come your car has doesn't have a Moors plate on it?
Hold on, let me find out where he is.
Answer the question, Pauline. How come you can't tell your followers?
Let me tell you how incompetent the question is. We don't have cars. We have conveyances. Come on.
Oh, you know what?
If you're going to come in here, you got to come. See, that's what I'm saying. They're incompetent, and that's why we don't talk to them. But anyway, so again,
he's following you.
He's obsessed actually with the Moors. Period. With the Moors, they're a bit obsessed with the Moors. And you know what? I don't even blame them. I don't even blame them for being that way. I don't blame him for wanting to be all in everything. We love him. I don't blame him for that. You know, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I really don't. We created that. So, Morris, you are to be congratulated for creating. I'm just messing. I'm just playing. But we do have to clean up our estate, and you know, all of this is. These conversations are the start of that, of getting that done. Empress, go ahead. I yield.
Oh, you was talking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, you know, and also with the court actions, I do need help with that. Because I have a lot of court actions.
If you will go to Moorish American Consulate, Arizona, AZ territory.
Okay.
There is some information in there about, and look through some of the posts, there's some information in there about practice court. And so if you want to do a practice court, Empress Jonaya, I believe, is on the call. Empress Jonaya, are you here? Are you present? Because she's one of the practice court justices.
How come your conveyance, Pauline, your conveyance had a...
Empress Jonaya, are you here? Y'all don't laugh too hard. Please don't laugh too hard at him.
And also
Islam, I hear some airs. Yes, Empress Genesis. Are you here, Empress Genesis?
Indeed, I am. Islam.
Yes. She wants to do a practice court.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the chat, Empress?
I'm waiting for you, Pauline.
No, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone call, but I can't.
Pauline, are you there? How come your Nissan Altima didn't have a Morse plate on it?
Keep on, Empress.
You can't answer that question.
Okay.
You can't answer that question, can you, Pauline?
You can
Pauline had a Washington State plate on her Nissan Altima. You haven't terminated all your corporate contracts. You haven't terminated any of your corporate contracts, Pauline. What's the problem?
More.
Pauline, come on, honey.
Don't give them any attention.
Tell all your friends, Pauline. Everybody can see it.
Usually when the FBI is in here, they use stuff so you can't find them really quickly, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Right. No, I was saying that Justice Melo is really over. She's not over, but she's the lead on the practice courts, and but if you want to go onto her page, the Facebook Public Records AV Arizona page, there's a lot of information on there. Pardon me?
I was on that when you said go on the Moorish American Public Records AV.
Yes, that's on Facebook, and you can go there and sign up, or you can take down my the consulate email address because I'm at Peoria, Illinois.
But wait a minute.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to with that man on here.
He's not on here, Empress. Go ahead and he's not on here, but yeah, if you want to, Empress Genesis, do you
well, it's the consulate email address.
Oh, okay. Give it here. All right.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Consulate. So it's going to be MAC, P as in Peoria, I as in Illinois. That's MacPie720 at gmail.com. And if you email me, I will. I'll get with Justice Melo and we'll set up something. Justice Jonaya.
Okay, so that's MacPie720 at gmail.com.
Yes, that's correct, Empress.
Okay, I'll email.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're quite welcome. Islam.
Empress to Charlie in the chat. You know, you got me cracking up about that. You know, I think they do get tired of dialing the same number over and over, you know, trying to make a point and getting muted out and booted out and all of that. I know they get tired of that, but they have to get their paycheck. And so it's like, okay, their boss probably says, okay, we heard that meeting, the Moors meeting, and
they give you a lot of energy.
In. Yes, don't they though? They really do. They just don't know. They're really just. I mean, they're handing us free energy all over the place. We love it. You know, they probably getting hassled by their boss that they need to call more often. You know, and they're like, but boss, she keeps moving me and booting me.
You're attracting them in.
Oh, goodness.
Why are you?
Empress, yes, Islam. You're welcome, Empress. I didn't mean to do that, Empress Tally. I was hitting another button over here.
That's okay. Thank you.
But yeah, he's probably, you know, they probably saying, you know, Sam, you need to get more, you know, well, whatever his name is. You need to be a little more forceful when you get in there. You need to help expose her.
Yeah. They should use
when everything is on the public record anyway.
And I think he has to say something so that he can prove that he's doing his job, you know. So he has to say something so that he can say, I showed up, you know. Because
well, here's the thing about that too. Morris, because we got to be careful here too. He's coming here, and he always comes with a question, right?
Yeah.
How come you won't tell him this, and how come you won't tell him that? Well, we don't answer to you. We don't answer to you.
That's right.
We don't answer to you. Subject. You are in subject status. Remember that. Because even when they're trying to, there's a little bit of feedback coming from somewhere. Okay. There's, you know, even when they're, you know, even when it seems like they're attempting to be friendly or whatever, they always still ask questions. And whenever they're asking questions, it is an interrogation to denationalize. I don't care if it's
they're called game stalkers. They're called game stalkers. That's what they're called. Game stalkers.
Oh, they haven't really stopped anything, so that's a little bit of a misnomer.
No, but stalkers. Stalkers.
Oh, stalkers. Oh.
Gang stalkers.
Islam.
G-A-N-G stalkers.
Islam. And so, you know, whenever you're speaking, and that's why we don't speak to them. We just hand the documents and then we leave. The first thing they're going to do is start asking questions. And asking questions, even if it's how are you, we're not even a how. How is property. We are a who. We're a who. We're the Moors, the sovereign. They're a how. How are you doing? You know. And so whenever they're asking questions, they're attempting to gain jurisdiction over the heirs. So we don't answer any of their questions at all. And in fact, we start asking questions. Yeah.
Islam, y'all look up gang stalkers, and then when y'all see it, then y'all be like, oh, wow, they really do this?
Islam. In the chat, it says here, Empress Light, I saw the video of your demonstration. I noticed you didn't have Morse tags. Let me, hold on for a minute. Let me read the rest. Can you explain? That was not my conveyance. My conveyance is in the travelway here on the property, and it has Morse tags. There was actually, anyway, I don't think that bears any further, you know, explanation. I just didn't feel that was necessary to even go there because that's a dumb question. Let me tell you something. All Washington State, quote-unquote, state tags are made from metals that come from our estate. The Albions who were previously claiming them, they're not even claiming them anymore, actually. They don't even own their underwear because that's material that came from our estate. So there's really no reason to question all of that. You see? Because then we could start saying, hey, did you know that the sandwich that you ate, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you ate, does not even belong to you? It doesn't. But we allowed that to be the case, and that's fine. We're glad that you ate because we don't want you all to starve. We want you to eat. You all are testing us. That's good. That's what we told you to do. And we're passing the test. Okay? So, again, oh, no. There's Empress Maddox, I'm glad you asked. Because I'll answer that coming from a sovereign. Aren't you a sovereign, Empress? Okay. I'll answer that coming from a sovereign. But I will not answer that coming from an Albion because they have to prove that they have jurisdiction first. Islam. And more, I don't mean to make y'all laugh like you're doing in the chat, but seriously. Let's see. Yeah, anything the Moors ask, Moors, you all see. Y'all can see. And the thing is, pointing at tags that I never even purchased, okay, instead of the demonstration that was done claiming that is what they would like for you to look at. That's
why are you lying to these people, Pauline?
There you go. His boss told him he better be in this meeting, and he better be asking about that so he can mute what was really done. Let me tell you what was really done. Now, this is the part you're going to love. This is the part I love about all of this. We love you. I did that, Empress. It's unlocked. It's not locked. People's able to get in. You should be able to get in, Empress. But the part that I love is this. In making our sovereign proclamation with regard to, but it does have to be,
you're a total fraud.
If there's any, you know what, I'm not even going to kick you out this time. I'm just going to mute you. Okay. Let me see. There you go. And so the beauty of that demonstration was this, and this was the what we know about the post office. Do the study more on the post office so that you will know why we did that particular demonstration. We did that demonstration because there's not a single place on this earth that the post office cannot deliver mail. Okay. And so when we proclaimed what everyone already knows, which is that the post office is the heirs, in all lowercase letters, the post office is the heirs. That's us. When we claimed the post office, we also claimed everything else. Every place that mail is delivered is ours. That's what we were doing. That's the real purpose of that demonstration. Okay? Every place that post office has delivered mail, that specific one has delivered mail just about everywhere. Or mail has come through there from everywhere on earth. At least one piece over the however many years that post office has been doing business. And not the post office, but that post office has been delivering mail. And so we chose the post office because we've already placed on the public record that we are the Postmaster General, or the Postmasters of the whole earth. All Moors are that. All sovereigns are that. And so to claim the post office publicly, we've already claimed it. It never was not ours, okay? But to claim it in our proper status, and really we were just proclaiming what's already the fact. To proclaim that in our proper status on the public record so that everyone can see that the heirs know what they're doing and that the heirs are well aware that everything that's out there belongs to us, all of us, every last one of us, makes it known all over the earth that we're awake. We're wide awake. And they would love to have us going and claiming giant domiciles for ourselves first, but our focus is on the nation, not on just, a domicile or this or a that. It's on, yes, we'll get those things at some point. Yep, all domiciles belong to the heirs already. But we're going to do it, and we're going to proceed strategically and safely, etc. And we're going to do it unified as one. As one. We're moving as one nation. We speak with one voice. We all use the same letterhead. We all, when we claim something, we claim it not just for ourselves, but for all Moors. All Moors. And they know what that means, too. If you look at what the Universal Postal Union, even in a corporate status, had control over, you know how important a post office really is.
Islam?
And the jurisdiction of it. It's a jurisdictional issue. And it's not a jurisdictional issue anymore. It's ours. That whole system belongs to the heirs. Always has and always will. Islam Empress.
I was of the understanding that at one point the post office was the mail delivery service, it was the bank, and also the courts. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's still all of that, and they keep hiding it. They keep hiding that fact, but we know it, and that's why we did what we did. Not only is it, if you look, there was a story out today about that the Postal Service and the United States Corporation Company Postmaster General. And they were talking in the article about the court actions that are going on, the fake corporate court cases that are going on with regard to that, because the citizens, the corporate citizens, are angry or whatever because they have to vacate the post, that whole system. They have to vacate our land, and they're not going to be able to get their ballots, quote unquote, through. And they talk about it like it's courts. Go out there and Google some of those stories about the court case, quote unquote, court case against the Postmaster General, the corporate U.S. Postmaster General, who really does not have, he don't hold no office here. We're not validating his office or any of that. In fact, we are rebutting it publicly here on the public record. It's already the bank, okay? The one thing that has to happen when banks even get started is that they have to mail their documents so that it goes through that avenue. That's the part that they never tell you. They don't say anything about why they're still using mail. We have email capabilities and everything everywhere. So why is that still there? Because we said that that's universal. We said that was universal. We did, the Moors did, back in the day. Did you know that the Universal Postal Union, which is the sovereign one in all lowercase letters, which is us, all Moors, But even the corporate one had a standing army and a Congress. Did you know that? That they had a Congress?
I had no idea.
Army?
I have no idea.
Yes. The Universal Postal Union had that. The corporate one. Do some research and some digging into that piece. Because the post office is a key piece. And Prince Philip, the one, and I'm saying Prince, that's in all capital letters in the lowest status possible. In fact, that's not even a status.
You're a big old fraud, Pauline.
You know, well, why is your name in all capital letters in here with all these sovereigns in here? Anyway, Prince Philip, the one that was doing business as Prince Philip, was actually the Postmaster General of the whole quote-unquote corporate world. Interesting. A lot of people didn't know that. That he was actually the one doing all the stuff, not the one doing business as Queen Elizabeth. It was
You better lock it up again because I'm just going to...
stuff. I know I'm not going to lock it up. You don't tell me what to do. Get out of here. He was the one doing the dirt back there and signing the things, everything. But see, now we have all of that is the heirs. We're the sovereign postmasters, all of us. Every last one of you is the sovereign postmaster of the earth, for the earth. Okay.
You need to quit lying to all your friends.
So, very good. Let's just let him wear his finger out. Let him wear his finger out. Let him keep talking. I'm gonna leave the meeting open though. I'm not locking it because Moors might be trying to get in, and in fact they are, because I keep getting things in the chat that they're trying to get into the meeting. And then also all of the money per se.
Have you told everybody about driving to the post office in your Nissan Altima, Pauline? You don't have. And
so Prince Philip and that one doing business as Prince Philip, let me put it that way. All of the money transactions between nations happened at the post office.
You need to quit lying to your people.
Union. Okay? All of the transactions between the nations happened there. That's how they made their transactions. And that's the part they didn't want us to know either, is that when one nation pays another nation something, a gratuity of some kind, or is assisting them, it goes through the Universal Postal Union Bank. They didn't want us to know that, but we know.
I'm going to be a big pain in your ass, Pauline.
You couldn't be a pain if you tried. You're quite entertaining. We love you so much. It's kind of like I don't know, that cute.
You want to come and lean me, Pauline?
Ankles and stuff. You know, the cute little puppy that nips at your ankles and he's barking and he's like.
We can't hear you, Empress.
I bet the rest of your people have regular plates on their car too, don't they, honey?
The volume is still out, Empress.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he came in what they do is they will disconnect my phone and then come in and try and say what they say. And they can only do that for a half a second, and they're actually not going to be able to keep doing that when the Moors do what we do and begin operating.
Bring it on, honey.
The whole phone thing. Okay, well, that's another corporation that we have to take. But we actually, when we take it, Morris, we have to show up with our badges on after doing the court actions and the eviction and the lien. We have to show up, all of us, you know, a group of us who know how to use that type of equipment, and start using that equipment so that the Moors won't lose service. That's how this happens. And that's the
you ought to be ashamed of yourself, Polly.
We taught them, that's how we taught them. We taught them how to use everything, and then when it was time, when it was time for them to do what they did in terms of us going to sleep and them coming in and hypothecating or whatever, they did it the same way. They used what they call writs of assistance. And some of you may have heard of those. The Albions used writs of assistance, and they came and they stopped cargo from coming in, and they, you know, but then they showed up to keep everything moving. And it took them a minute to get everything moving. You know, there's no corporation on this land that we can't take command and control of in that manner, and within 90 days have everything up and running the way it should be. But Moors, listen to me carefully. We're going to have to do that with the most important services first, which are telephone, communications, utilities, and waste management. Services, the main utilities. We're going to have to get to work on those right away, as soon as we have our badges and we're ready to do so. Okay. There's no rush per se, but we are going to have to move in that manner. So we have to get prepared for that. And the thing is, there are Moors, many of our Moors who are, for example, who've been incarcerated for the last 15 or 20 or 30 years. They don't really want to sit at a desk and do the paperwork and the court actions and things like that. They don't really want to do that. They would be happy to get out and be productive in their own nation, okay, and do those things. So each of us will get to do exactly what we love to do on our land, and our land is going to really, really bloom and blossom the way that it always has when it's been under our complete control. Okay. There are Moors that have been incarcerated. The only thing they want to do is build. They just want to do construction work because they love it. They love the attention that they get for looking like they do construction work. And all of that, you know, we appreciate our heirs just all over. We're going to have so much fun building our land up and building this nation up. It is work, and we must be competent. We have to be instant in season and out. If we're approached immediately, we have to know exactly what to do and not to let our guard down when it comes to fake, corporate, etc. Empress Melo, are you saying something?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak, because you know I can talk all day. So y'all don't let me talk all day. Y'all interject at will. But the way we're going now, and the way this nation is going to continue moving, is going to be 100% in the favor of the Moors, because we're going to be doing everything. We don't have to worry about fake policy enforcers when we're the ones who are enforcing the law. We don't have to worry about that. It's going to be a peaceful transition. And the same way that we did with that post office, okay, but when we have enough more to come and do that, is the same way we're going to do it with everything else that they're actually walking away from because it's not profitable anymore. That includes policy enforcer stations, which will then become law enforcement because the heirs will be there. Same thing for courthouses and things like that, utility companies, etc., all of that, everything. That's how it's going to be done. And trust and know that we already have Moors working in those areas already right now, heading them up, leading them. So we don't have to worry about whether we're going to be able to do it or not. We already know we can because we've been doing it anyway. And any corporate job that we've been on, we've always been the ones that were working the hardest, that knew the most, that trained our replacement and our boss's replacement, that trained the new bosses coming in who was going to be over us. We showed them all types of how to do the system and all of that. We showed them everything they needed to know for them to govern us, etc. Okay. That ought to be enough motivation for all of us to just be like, okay, let's do this. So when you feel like let's do this, start with liens and court actions, freeing yourself first from the things that they may be attempting to do with you. Whenever you feel like let's go, let's do this, I'm ready to get to work, do that first. Then start looking around at the resources and start setting the resources free. Liens and court actions on resources in your territory. Let that be next. Now, as far as, again, and then prepare to get your badge so that you can start serving, because there's going to be more documents that are going to need to be served even after the liens and court actions, which is, we're moving into that, which is evictions and all of that. Those corporations have to GO. And then as far as domiciles are concerned, there are enough domiciles that are empty that we don't have to worry too much about evicting anyone out of them. There's enough of them that are empty. And trust and know more, as we continue to stand and they see that we're the law and we're the government, they'll leave, they'll go. They're doing it already just based on the things that we've been doing thus far. We meaning all Moors. Okay, once they saw you all doing liens and court actions, they was like, okay, we got to, because they're getting closer and closer to, you know, everything. In fact, they're at everything right now. Because did you also know that every fake judge was also a fake banker? That's why there was an amount attached to each and everything they opened their mouth and said or did. Did you know that, more? And did you also know, go ahead, Empress.
Islam. And is that why we had to approach the bench?
Yeah.
Banking?
Yes. Huh. Yes. That's why we, in our sleep, we did that. That's why in our awakening, I want the screen to unfreeze. In our awakening, we don't have to do that. Yes, Empress, I'm sorry, Justice Yisrael Perez Bay. Yes, bank and bench is the same thing. Okay. Okay. And so now that we are the judges, and yes, Empress Genesis, she says in the chat, that's why they put charges on you. That's what the bankers do. That's why it was so important for us to get our judges and justices moving forward. Because guess who the bankers are now? Islam. That's why it's important for each one of us to do court actions and liens. It's important. Yes, Empress. All Moors are the bankers and the justices now. And that is how we're going to continue restoring our land. Yes. Yes. If you think you're in society, Empress Shaddai, then they say that's why they say you owe a debt to society. And we know they're not talking about us because, number one, we don't have any debt, and number two, we're not a society. We don't owe anyone anything. Yes. And Justice Malik, all to do with the flow of energy is what he put in the chat. Yes. Yes. Being a Moor, you will learn something every day. Absolutely, in the chat. Yes, absolutely, you will learn something every day. And that's why it's important that we continue meeting and talking and doing what we're doing our demonstrations, sharing our demonstrations, putting our demonstrations on the public record, showing each other and assisting each other and all of that. We got this already. It's already a wrap. It's already a wrap. We just have to keep going, and we are. In the chat, Empress Valerie says, since the flags and banners were removed from the United Nations building, where did that corporation move to? In fact, that was never their building. That was always our building. And since we are the nation, okay, we are the nation. All they did was a bunch of citizens got up and got out of there and went into the mountains. They packed their bags and moved back to the Caucasus Mountains. When you hear them talking about prepping and all of that, they just move to the mountains and stay there for as long as they can last out there. You know, that's where a lot of them go, to the mountains. And some of them just take on water. They get on a boat and they say, we just gonna sail away. And just wherever we land is where we land. And some of them decide that they're going to, you know, take a flight out of a 14-story building. Some of them do. And you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot. And we don't really want them like that. We want them to just leave peacefully and go where they're going. Yes, Islam. We're everything that they capitalize, we're it in all lowercase letters. Okay. So, having said that, I believe we are right just over the 2-hour mark. And we want to, you know what I would like to do? This is what I would like to do on our way out of this meeting. I would like for us to send love to the Albions on their way out, because they're out of here. And we don't want them to leave here without knowing that we love them. We're not angry. We're not warring. We do love them. And we know they're on their way out based on the things that we're doing. We're not going to stop doing what we're doing because we don't want them to stay enslaved. We want them to go ahead and go. Okay? We want them to go ahead and go. But on their way out, know that we love them. So let's just send some love energy to them, and we can do that by saying, Islam, go in peace. Well done, our good and faithful servants. Go in peace. And I know some some Moors don't feel that way. If you don't feel that way, then ask the ancestors to assist you with cleansing the energy so that you can feel that way. Because guess what? The sooner you do that, the sooner they leave. It's a catch-22. That love and peace thing those are some weapons for you. Okay, they really are. Those are weapons that just, they're peace weapons, though. You know. So yes, go in peace, our good and faithful servants. So if you all could unmute and just say, go in peace, our good and faithful servants. That would be
Go in peace.
Our good and faithful. We love you. Our good and faithful. Go in peace. Go in peace. And Moors and Grand Rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous God of this land.
Go in peace. Islam. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Grand rising, and we cannot be stopped.
Yes.
Peace and love.
Yes.
Grand rising. Peace and love. Grand rising.
Peace Moors. Peace Moors. Islam. Peace Moors. Islam.
Islam. Peace and love.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Yes. Islam.
Stop, Bella.
Yes. Islam.
Stop, Bella.